In this video, you will learn what a microcontroller is, what a microcontroller isn't, what to consider when choosing a microcontroller, how to get started with Arduino, and write your first program. Before we begin, remember to like the video and subscribe if you're finding it helpful. A microcontroller is a self-contained system on a single chip. It includes a CPU, RAM, ROM to store its program, and some include non-volatile EEPROMs to store data between power cycles. Microcontrollers also have a variety of peripherals. Commonly, counters, which are also referred to as timers, analog to digital converters, and transceivers for communication protocols such as UART, I2C, SPI, etc. The only external components they will typically require to function are an oscillator for a clock, and many have these built in, and bypass capacitors to filter power supply noise. Also, one or more voltage regulators if the rest of the surrounding circuitry doesn't operate at the same voltage. When we get started with these, we use development boards, which already have everything needed on board, a USB interface chip for programming, and easy access to all the pins of the microcontroller. No need to build it from the ground up yourself. So let's briefly differentiate microcontrollers from other types of logic chips. The microprocessor is similar to the microcontroller, except it's just the CPU part. No peripherals or memory. They need all of that externally. They're typically used when you need more raw processing power than a microcontroller provides in its all-in-one package. There are also FPGAs and the decreasingly popular SPLDs and CPLDs. These are field programmable gate arrays, simple programmable logic devices, and complex programmable logic devices, respectively. These devices don't even include CPUs. They're a massive array of logic gates and D flip-flops that can be programmed into any digital logic configuration you want. You can configure one to be a CPU if you want to, or even a microcontroller, but they themselves are just a blank slate that you can load custom logic onto. They don't run software, but their hardware is directly configured by your configuration file. These are typically used when you have a hyper-specific application for which custom hardware makes sense, but not in large enough volume for an ASIC to make sense, which is an application-specific IC, or integrated circuit. Now with that out of the way, there are a number of things to consider when shopping for a microcontroller. At this stage, we're not going to go in-depth here, but I did want to make mention of these things. Your choice will be based on your needs for your project, number of I/O ports, clock speed, which peripherals are built in, wireless capabilities, CPU architecture, and word size, 8, 16, or 32 bits. Even the manufacturer is a consideration for familiarity with their platform. But to begin, I'm going to recommend none other than an Arduino with an Atmega 328P chip on board. Arduino is the most popular platform of development boards out there, and they've been around for quite a long time now. So there's a huge community around it, many forum posts over the years which you can refer to if you have issues, and there are lots of libraries that already exist for it which you can include in your projects so you don't have to write every little implementation detail all by yourself. Plus, the Arduino IDE makes programming very straightforward. The Atmega 328P is very outdated now, so I don't recommend sticking with it once you get comfortable programming microcontrollers. There are many much more capable chips at the same price point or cheaper these days. My general recommendation is to look at the STM32 series of devices, but let's stick to the here and now. These old chips are still the very best, in my opinion, to start on as a beginner for all the reasons mentioned before about Arduino. Any board that has an Atmega 328P chip will work, whether it's an Arduino board or a clone. I would get an Uno R3 or a Nano. Then head over to arduino.cc/en/software and download the IDE for your computer. Or if you're a Linux user like I am, it's probably available through your package manager. Only download it from the website if your package manager doesn't have it. You can get the current or legacy version. Just get the current version. They aren't too much different, but the current version has more and better IDE features. Also, if you're using an Arduino clone instead of the name brand, there is a high likelihood that it's using the CH340 USB interface chip, which isn't the one the name brand uses. So you'll need to download a driver for it before your computer will recognize it. Unless you're a Linux user, which supports it out of the box. You just want to make sure you look for CH340 or CH341A USB chip drivers. To my knowledge, there's not one single vendor of that driver. You just have to exercise your discretion when looking for it. Once you open the IDE with your Arduino plugged in, you should be able to pick it out of the drop-down box towards the top left of the window. Below, a new project is open called a sketch. It starts by giving you a setup function and a loop function. The setup function runs first and runs only one time. The loop function, as the name suggests, loops indefinitely after the setup function finishes. The Arduino language is a subset of C++. It's basically C plus classes. I prefer plain C myself, but the language supports classes and every library you use will have them, including the basic Arduino library. I'm not teaching C in this video, but what I'm showing you won't be too difficult to grasp if you haven't learned it yet. There are 4 functions which we'll see in this video, other than the 2 that are already in the sketch. Pin mode, digital write, analog read, and delay. In addition, we'll use the define preprocessor directive, which basically tells the compiler to make an alias for any given value, so every time we use that alias, the real value gets swapped in upon compilation. Pin mode sets a pin as an input or an output. Digital write sets an output pin high or low. Analog read, by default, reads an analog input pin as a 10-bit value between 0 volts and the 5 volt supply, and delay makes the chip wait for a specified number of milliseconds. The first 2 functions take 2 parameters, with the first being the pin to interact with, and the second being the action to take. Pin mode takes input or output. Digital write takes high or low. The second 2 each take 1 parameter. Analog read takes the pin to read, and delay takes the number of milliseconds to wait. Lastly, the define directive takes the name you want to use as an alias, and then the value you want the alias to reference. Now we're ready to do something with these functions. The hello world of microcontrollers is to blink an LED. So first, we use the define directive, which does not need to go inside any function, and define LED pin to the pin our LED is attached to. This isn't actually necessary, but it lets us refer to this pin by an arbitrary name rather than its number. Then we'll go into the setup function and set the pin mode of LED pin to output. Then we'll add 4 lines in the loop function to make the LED blink. Digital write LED pin low, delay 500, digital write LED pin high, delay 500. Now we can upload the sketch to the Arduino and see the LED blink once per second. Half a second off and half a second on. Here's a little bit bigger program making use of all the functions we went over earlier, also utilizing a switch statement. Can you tell what it does just by looking at it? So first, we have all these define directives giving names to a bunch of pins. Then we have the modes of those pins being set in the setup function. Then in the loop function, we're using the switch statement to evaluate the output of the analog read function. And depending on the case of its output, calling a bunch of digital write functions. So with all that in mind, can you guess what it's doing before I show you? It's turning on a specific LED in a row of LEDs based on the position of a potentiometer and turning off the rest. This program could actually be simplified by writing a new function to handle the switching of the LEDs, but we'll leave this video here. This is only the beginning of what you can do once you begin learning how to use microcontrollers. Here's a function generator I built using an Arduino, a waveform generator IC, and an LCD that just lives on the breadboard. And here's a little rudimentary oscilloscope using just an Arduino and a little OLED display. Now go and experiment with your own Arduino, because true learning happens by doing, not just by watching someone else do it. The iceberg goes quite deep, and Arduino is only the tip. If you found this video helpful and enjoy the way I explain what I'm doing, you might be interested in the book I'm writing called An Intuitive Approach to Understanding Electronics, in which I go over everything from the fundamental principles of electricity to transistors, digital logic, and more, all explained so you can have a true and intuitive understanding of them rather than just some math on a page. Head over to book.theandrewneal.com to join the list to be emailed when it launches and receive a free preview of the first section when you sign up. And sign up now because the free preview will no longer be available after launch. If you would like to get one-on-one help from me with anything electronics, join my school community, Intuitive Electronics Club, where I help people just like you with their projects and further their electronics skills. The community is still quite new, so you could make it in on early bird pricing before we reach 24 members. Plus, you'll get direct digital access to the book when it launches just for being a member. The link is in the description. Remember to hit like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a new upload. And also, try out that hype button. This is the place for videos on soldering, electronics, and electronics repair. I'll see you guys in the next one.